Welcome back, everybody. We return once again to another exciting round of Paper Mario. In the previous video, we managed to get into the red section of the Crystal Palace, and now we will traverse through there. One of the first puzzles we're going to come across is this sort of chamber where, on this side of the mirror, there are some white clubbers, and on the other side there are statues. So what could that mean? We'll find out in a moment, but first it's time to kill some things. I'm going to show you why we upgraded Cooper right now. Because it does a particular amount of damage to all enemies on the ground, and it's a fire-based attack too, so what that means is that if we use it here, then, you know, in this ice-themed level where a whole bunch of ice characters are around, then we get a little bit of a boost, or, you know, a bit of an advantage compared to what we would be getting otherwise. So, Cooper, you rock, and carry on. So by destroying the guy in front, we also destroyed the statue in the mirror world, and that's going to be important for later. Also important is more death. So one thing worth mentioning is that there are some, that these fights come with Clubbers and Magic Koopas. I'm not really showing it, but you want to destroy them first. Just because, you know, standard rule of Magic Koopas apply here. If you don't kill them first, then they will be giving their allies lots of boosts, plus if they're left alone on the field, they're going to run away. So by destroying all the guys on this side of the room, we don't really get anything over here. But on the other side, since we destroyed the Sentinels, we also destroyed their counterpart statues, and now we're allowed to proceed down this way. So first obstacle, not too bad. Next chamber. Ah, this one. We have to bring out our temperamental, quote-unquote, adorable pink nuke here. There we go. So there's something important about this room that I'm going to bring us back to a little bit later. And it has something to do with the mirror chamber of this area here. I'm sort of debating which characters to use. Never mind. Okay. Ah, he got me right though. Never mind. Because we got them right there everywhere else. Yeah, FP's running a little bit low. Okay, we can manage. We can do well here. See that room over there? There's a treasure chest and a duplicate over there, but there's no obvious way in. And I think we're going to get back to it later, but it has something to do with that chamber there. But more importantly, right now it looks like our mirrors are doing something devious. Perhaps we ought to copy their devious actions. But maybe we should be overzealous and wait for the animation to finish. And his shadow popped out, but the rest of him didn't. You see that? His shadow's still right behind Mario. Ah, indeed, you are the real Koopa, sir. Don't worry, old man. I recognize Cooper when I see him. Certainly, I believe you. Yes, Luigi, I've always known you were Cooper all along. Right, so this is another one of those puzzles where you have to guess which one is the real one. I think the game's just sort of toying with us right now. Like, it should be fairly obvious. If you don't look into anything at all, it's fairly obvious who it actually is. I'm not really sure why I hit them in this particular order. It's peculiar. Why did I hit Luigi second? You think Mario would be more reluctant to hit Luigi? I suppose not. Imagine if you saw your brother or sister or relative, and you saw them in a place where they shouldn't be at all, like there's no logical reason for them to be there at all. But they're there nonetheless, and you know it can't really be them. Do you hit them? Or do you try to negotiate with the doppelganger? But of course, we're not going to go with that route. I'm going to show you what I actually did when I was 11 years old, when I actually played the game. After we get thrown over here. So I actually looked into it too much when I was 11 years old, and I attacked the real one because I thought the answer was too obvious. So this is what I did when I was younger. I thought it was so stupid that it had to be him, just because it would make sense for there to be a twist, but no. By the way, I'm going to show you something you should never ever do in this game. You should never bring out Watt when you're playing, because 1, she hits on contact, and 2, she kinda hurts. As Mario tells us here. Yeah, see, that doesn't really tell us much about her personality, unfortunately, but we've been barely using her anyway. Also, you don't want to face 4 Watts. It's basically the equivalent of suicide by Dupe Ghost. After going back and doing that part again, we defeat him this time with Sushi. By the way, you don't have to fight them, because we can just do that thing we did a moment ago and then, you know, win just by selecting the right one. But I sort of like the extra experience points, so we're just going to go with that route instead. So now we have Bombette and Cooper, who are both relatively upset at us, but it's okay. We've done it for the greater good, you see. I've hurt your feelings and proved to you that I can't tell who you really are, but at least we got a few more experience points, right? So we're back in here again, and it turns out the solution is to bomb the wall like that. And then attack the Dupla Ghost with a bomb, maybe. There we go. I don't do that enough. That's actually very useful. So now it's time to check out what he has to say about Sushi. Grouchier. I always assumed she was sort of overly cheerful, actually. Meddlesome, I guessed. Grouchy, not so much. I guess she's supposed to be like the team mom. That's a lot of money. Maybe wearing a badge that gives you money? I forget if I am, but that's a lot of money. Ooh, that's nice. Triple dip. That might become useful in the final chapter, actually. We'll see how the voting goes. So, that was just a quick little diversion. Gives you guys one more option. We're gonna go back this time, the way we were going originally. Now that we cleared the whole Cooper facade obstacle. That's the second time Cooper was involved in that sort of thing in the plot. I wonder why they specifically chose Cooper for that event. Is it because of his slidey attack thing? His shell shooting maneuvers? Ooh, there's treasure afoot. There we are. But yeah, you ever have one of those things where you look into something too much and you make the completely wrong decision just because of it? Sort of like what the Cooper thing happened? I'm sure people have. Unless they tend not to think about things too often, in which case, perhaps not. Fairly obvious puzzle here. Cool nonetheless, though. So we can't proceed that way, so let's go this way, because we're more or less out of options otherwise. It's a good thing that bridge didn't close on the way, too, or else we'd be screwed. Huh. I didn't know it mirrored on either side. That's kind of neat, actually. Even the start pieces are mirrored. So here's a smaller statue that we actually can push over. Whee! And I believe there's something down here. I think it's a badge, but we'll find out. I'm switching to Lackluster just in case we encounter a dude. Ah, my... Okay, no, none of them here. But we are going to learn a new move, or at least try a new move. It's called Cloud 9. I believe you guys voted for it a little bit earlier. It basically gives Mario a copy cloud, and while he can't necessarily fly with it, it gives him much better dodging. Anyway, that's that. To bring out Bombette to do a little bit more bombing here. Actually, I figure if she does more bombing, perhaps she'll ease up. I know he's sort of pissed off in the previous episode, but perhaps leaving some steam will help. Okay, so this badge right here. This badge, P up, D down. According to the rules, I'm actually required to wear this, which means I'm going to have to take off one of my badges right now in order to equip it. And let's see which ones we can sacrifice. Yeah, those will be fine. But the rules actually say that I'm not allowed to wear one of the P down, D up badge, and I'm forced to wear the P up, D down, which basically means that I'm going to have one more attack power but one less defense. So I'm going to be dealing with that for the remainder of the game. Unfortunately, we cannot de-equip it, but, you know, those are the rules I agreed to. The next time I do a Let's Play, and it may or may not be an RPG, but the next time, I'm not so sure if I'm going to still follow the same rules. One, because I think I know a few people who have complaints against them, but two, because I feel like in the long run it's not really changing anything. Like, sure, I'm following a different path here, but I feel like overall I'd be sort of doing the same thing. Anyway, because we moved the little statue in the mirror world, the big statue moves here. I know, sort of strange. Hey, there we go. Now here's an opportunity to tattle Lackluster. Come on. Ah, that doesn't work. I figured that would work. There's our Lackluster. So by tattling this little punk... Let's see here. Hard to take him seriously. Yeah, I agree. Look at that chubby little face. Who could take that adorable little face so seriously? Okay, die. Right, so... destroying Lackluster gives us the ability to pass through here, and I believe collect the more important item that we're supposed to be getting in this wing of the dungeon. Oh, I was right, I was talking about rules. So, the next game that I'm going to be playing probably won't follow the same rule system. What I might do instead is maybe ask for challenges to do. Like, maybe I'll play a game... Like, this is hypothetical, I'm probably not going to do this now, but let's say we're playing Ocarina of Time. Zelda Ocarina of Time. This is just hypothetical. Maybe, like, between each section, between, like, starting a new area and completing a dungeon, maybe I'll ask for, like, a challenge or two to complete. Maybe 3 tops. And by challenges, they have to be something that's worth a little bit of skill. It can't be something that's tedious, like, go ahead and do 5 laps around the dungeon for no reason, because that's not going to make for some interesting video. But perhaps something trying to do something I've never done before, maybe a specific combination of moves or something. Now, that could be interesting. Oh, by the way, here's another element of a puzzle. These are called Albino dinos, I think, based on what he was saying. And it's another puzzle. They won't attack us, they're not enemies, but they are involved with the statues in the background. Now you see, you can only push the statue forward, and the only way to turn the statue is by talking to their counterparts in the real world. I'm not really sure if it qualifies as the real world per se, but I suppose the foreground rather, is an appropriate term to use, since because they're both real in a way. So foreground versus background would be a more logical way to approach the subject. And they always say the same thing when you talk to them. But at the very least, the solution to the puzzle is fairly obvious, so it's not too tedious, or not too troubling. Interesting, fellows. I wonder if they're actually alive, or if they're just manifestations of magic. And if they are alive, how long have they been here? They said this Crystal Palace was ancient. Unless they work for the Crystal King, in which case they've been here pretty recently. But they're not hostile, and I figure it's something that's called an albino dino would try to kill you if it saw you. Hot cocoa and a rice. Actually, that sounds pretty good. I might take you up on that offer. Ah, there we go. Here, I'll get something to drink right now. I'm gonna get some hot cocoa, actually. That sounds like a good idea.